Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Thank you for being a friend. Okay, y'all. For those of you that see the links in the description, hopefully y'all were able to check out the links. Shout out to Compassionate for posting this. This is a year old. How did Mr. Z miss it? Right? And it was on a major publication. How did Z miss it? Right? Okay. All right. That show y'all Mr. Z is a YouTube junkie, but even things that I research be getting past me. Clearly. Right? A year old. It might even be more than a year old. I even checked to see what month it was published. It could be even more than a year old. Okay. We are covering this to speak about the end of and what decentering men looks like, what single by choice looks like, what single mother by choice looks like. If y'all recall, this lady, the 66-year-old, she adopted children, right? Knowing she was a single mother, clearly, right? So she adopted single, right? So she adopted. So this is a proto Ebony K. Williams, right? So Ebony K. Williams did in vitro. This lady adopted. There's social and political ramifications to this, economic ramifications to this. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But we're just gonna kind of frame this before we get to that. Okay. If you check out the links in the description, you will see the link from Compassionate where Chrissy is speaking about if you can't date hypergamously, it's better that you be alone. She didn't say single, she said alone. Much worse, right? That's number one. Number two, the clip from Real Talk with Yanni, where she's mocking the brother who said, yo, like, some of y'all maybe gonna have to date down, we know he means financially, right? And some of you like this now you're not gonna have to settle. Like some of you are gonna have to settle. And the brother was being, 100% accurate. And Real Talk with Yanni, in her snarky, sassy way, of course, said no, we're not gonna settle. And you men pass or die before us anyway. So we might as well just, hold on and be single. Now, we already know that, and I'm going to put the link actually. So let me make sure that I remind myself. So if I play this back, let me say this early enough so I can remind myself to put this link. I'm going to also put the link from Black Enterprise Institute, once again, who got their numbers from the St. Louis Federal Reserve. So this is not something that Mr. Z is making up. Single Latina and Black women have the least amount of wealth in America. What did we also hear from the news feed or the news clip? Some 57 or so million American workers do not work for was it do or do not work for a company or something that offers 401k and pension, et cetera, et cetera. So remember, about 165 million people in America work. So out of about the 340 million Americans, about 165 million work. So if 57, so let's say 60 million of them don't have, their jobs don't offer any type of 401k or pension, that's a nice chunk. That's a nice chunk, right? What's that, 30 some odd percent, give or take, right? Give or take, maybe 20 some odd percent. That's a nice chunk. And by the way, we're not even talking about so what if you do work for a corporation company, you work for local government, and they do offer pension or 401k, but it's crap. Right? They don't match you, or they pay very little in, right? Yeah, it's looking ugly. So this is what decenter men looks like, Yanni. This is what it ends up being. Shout out to Chrissy. Chrissy, this is what it looks like when you require that you date and eventually marry hypergamously. This is what it looks like. I told y'all can't hold the U.S. government hostage. Y'all keep on thinking you can. You think you can hold the Black community hostage. Some 25% or so of your young men are marrying out. And you can't match them because the men of other races are just that racist. Y'all miscalculated like a mug, Chrissy and Yanni. And so maybe because y'all are doing well financially, you think other black women could play this game that y'all playing. It ain't gonna work. It's looking bad, right? And y'all gives you 1 second. I know I'm broken. Give me a second. And we're back. So we're watching eras of what this single by choice actually manifests into in the long run, right? We know it happened with certain boomers, particularly the young ones. We're watching even more extras engage in that. We watch as millennial black women, you know, help to popularize the rich auntie trope. And we know they're not the first to say it. We know that there were extras saying this also, but not in their own way. Um, and we're watching Gen Z pretty much say, yeah, that sounds fun. And this is the outcome. What you see with the white lady that is 60, this is a white 66-year-old saying she works her butt off. That's what she said. She told you she works her butt off. Huh? If you kept on going through the links that I put in the description, you'll find black women who are single mothers by choice and who have a support group coming out of the DC area, DMV. All you brothers in the DMV, please explain, right? So obviously, professional black women with their nose so far the airplanes get caught in it. Huh? Can't make it work with black men. You're in the DC area. Can't make it work with white men. Uh-oh. Don't want to be munching on vagina or being munched on. And now you're a single mother by choice. Huh? Yeah. So when I say this, for those of you that think that Z might be being a hyperbolic, or that I'm saying this and I'm celebrating watching black women go through this, or I'm saying this in some type of glee, no, these links speak to something. And I'm going to make sure to remember to put that Black Enterprise Institute link that speaks about single, single Latina and single black women having the least amount of wealth in America. Understand something. Those women, those black women that were covered, that were single mothers by choice, were professional black women for the most part. And even for the very fair-skinned one who looked like her sperm donor might have been white, those kids, I don't know. Even though you're super light-skinned, ma'am, I don't know them kids got a black daddy, but okay, whatever, maybe. Even she said, do I think sometimes, or do I consider sometimes, that a extra income would be nice? Yeah. Uh-oh. Huh? And Harambe says they're not all racist. They just don't want rude, obnoxious women. And speaking about the non-black men, particularly white men, this is true, Harambe. You're right. Not all white dudes are racist. Not all white dudes are anti-black. Not all white dudes aren't attracted to black women. You are right. But we do live in America, and that line is super thin and super fuzzy. Right? Super thin and super fuzzy. And so the line between, well, she's a woman and I'm attracted to women and she's pretty attractive, but attitude, hygiene, right? General dispensation or disposition. There we go. That's the word I'm really looking for. Disposition, like you said, rude and obnoxious. The line between that and a white dude just saying, yeah, but she's a black woman, and yeah, I could maybe see me smashing, but Mary, nope. That line is real fuzzy. So there's a reason why I say what I say when it comes to that, right? Exactly, Trill. Not all, right? So yeah, we do live in America, so there's a reason why I say what I say, right? So, you know, we're watching the outcome of decades of this society encouraging women to give men the middle finger, particularly even in the black community. And y'all gives you 1 second, y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. Um, but yeah, so this 66-year-old speaks to the long-term outcome for your average woman in America writ large with this single mother by choice, single by choice, right? 66 years old, and her words, working my butt off. When she was asked by the host or the interviewer, what did you see yourself doing this? Where did you see yourself? Yeah, not doing this, not working my butt off at 66. Now we focused on that for a couple minutes. Let's also mention why Mr. Z put the Golden Girls theme. What did the lady say? What did the interviewer say? She sold this the 66-year-old sold her home, downsized, and moved in with two other single women. Oh boy. Once again, thank you for being a friend. Hmm? I continuously say there is a cost to giving men the middle finger. There is a cost to giving black men the middle finger. I'm not just saying that to say it. Mr. Z does a whole lot of freestyling up here. Well, a lot of this is not just saying it to say it. This is not just about antagonizing black women and mocking them and making fun of them. As tempting as that is, oh boy, and it is tempting because of the way they speak and advocate against black men and the glee they get from watching black men suffer and hurt. That is not what we're doing here. We're literally showing and telling and reporting and documenting. I could do this all day. What the outcome is for giving black men the middle finger. And in this case, this is a white woman, 66, 66 years old. She's the proto Ebony K. Williams. Huh? Yeah. So a couple months ago, we watched as black women celebrated the 4B movement. Ha! Middle finger. Middle finger to black men. Ha ha. Look at what the South Korean women are doing. We could do that too. And nobody actually told y'all the cost of giving men the middle finger, the cost to you, dear women, dear black women who thought it was funny, who was celebrating this. Huh? Y'all simply don't earn enough to give men the middle finger, black men the middle finger. It's that simple. The vast majority of you just simply don't earn enough. Shout out to all you women that think you're going to be the rich auntie, all you black women that think you're going to be the rich auntie, you still don't earn enough, even without the kid. Huh? You still don't earn enough even without the kid. Once again, Black Enterprise Institute. Single Latina and single black women have the least amount of wealth in America. This has larger social, political, and economic ramifications. Mr. Z is not, y'all know Mr. Z is a leftist. I am not about men voting to the right to spite women. Huh? I am not about the reactionary right. But you know what Mr. Z is not also about? Women who never made a deal with a man. And so now they're going to try to force the government to force men to subsidize the women that you never got married to and you never had sex with and maybe never even had a child with. Mr. Z is not also about women who play like they're leftists, but really it's about having the state get the resources from the men, even though the men never had access to the women. Oops. Right? And Vincent Z, I just sent you a rage quitting video. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'll check it out. Right? And Mr. Shikti says, Alexa, play Prototype by Andre 3000, please. Right? Oh, man. Yeah, there's a cost to this. Go through the links in the description box and just watch. Right? And Trell says, and this is hysterical, those commies, those commie beach is, there will say it. Those commie bees. Here's the thing. The communists actually, as wayward as they are and as um wrong as they may be in the long-term outcome of communism, right? At least they're principled for the most part. These women aren't principled. This is pure self-interest. The difference between, especially if you're talking like old school commies, right? 30s, 40s, 50s commies, the difference between them and these newfangles that are claiming Marxism, which, by the way, difference, is that these women are claiming this collectivism really to get the state to subsidize them in the middle finger they want to give to overall society, and for the black community in particular, the middle finger they want to give to black men. So it's really about having the state subsidize their negative liberty. They're not really communist. They're selfishist, right? They're selfish. And so they want the state and the quote unquote society and community to subsidize their negative liberty. That's what this is really about. Huh? One foot in hyper individuality, one foot in collectivism. Nope. Right? One foot in, nobody could judge me, nobody could tell me what to do, negative liberty. And then one foot in, yeah, but I could tell you what to do with those resources, not cough it up so I could go live my negative liberty life. Nope. Huh? So no, Trail, these are not real commies. These are little entitled brats. And what we're showing with this 66-year-old is what the outcome is. She's 66. What's the new the age of retirement now? What for full benefits is what, 67? Something like that. She's a year out and she can't retire because she doesn't earn enough. So the Social Security is not going to be enough. Uh-oh. And if single black and Latina women have the least amount of wealth in America, remember they have what, 8 cents to white man's dollar. Remember they have $3,300 of wealth to the white woman's $31,000 of wealth. So if this, let's say this white woman has that $31,000 of wealth and she can't retire, what does that mean for her similarly aged black female cohort? Right? TF indifferent, thank you. And TF indifferent says 67 and a half is so 67 in 6 months. 67 years old in 6 months is where is the retirement age? Huh? So while Real Talk with Yanni and Chrissy and their ilk, the Shira Sevens and whatnot, the Cynthia G's and whatnot, the Lexus Exodus and whatnot, the Mahogany Pinks. Once again, at the end of one of those myth of the myth of black love, Mahogany Pink told y'all she know them white women gonna fold, especially as this economic environment gets more crushing and punishing, right? Or punitive. That's the word I was looking for. She know the white women gonna fold, and she told you essentially don't fold, dear black women. Don't fold, black women, even though you have less wealth on average than the white woman who's gonna fold. That actually, Trail. That's a good way to put it. The principled big C communists versus the little C commies. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Right. That's a good way to put it. Huh. And so this is the cost. So while Yanni and Chrissy and their ilk are waxing poetic about if you can't date hypergamously, it's better that you stay single. Sorry, wrong word. That you stay alone. That you be alone. While they're waxing poetic, trying to mock men who say, okay, quote unquote, settle, right? Some of y'all are going to have to settle. And while Yanni mocks that young man and speaks about how men pass, and you could see the smirk in her. Yanni, something's not right. I think it's worse than what we see on YouTube. Something not right, huh? As Yanni kind of, not even kind of, she mocks this man and speaks about how men pass before women anyway. And there's a number of women who've been singing, and you're reading it, you'll read it through the comments. It's a number of women that said, yeah, my uncle passed and my aunt, right, was by herself for 30 years until she passed. My mom was single after my dad passed. My mom was single for 20 years after she passed. Did your dad leave your mom anything? That house, a pension, any money to her? Yeah, that's what's not going to happen for you for not marrying a man, a black man. Huh? Yeah, there's a cost. And what's going on, GoP? And Go Professor says, this sounds like WNBA, women never being accountable. Hysterical. And for those of you that don't know, Mr. Z has to say it every single time. Every single time. Go Professor was the first to suggest that Mr. Z start his channel. And here we are, a couple years later, a few years later now, right? And so y'all make sure to send all your hate mail to Go P, right? To Go Professor. But yeah, Go Professor, this is the price. This lady is 66 years old, and she's telling you she's working her butt off. Her words. She literally is living the Golden Girls life. That's why I put the theme song. in there. She's literally living we talk about it and some of us make fun and mock it. No, this lady's literally living the Golden Girls life. We talk about the village and the community and how black women, they forego relationships with men. They give men the middle finger, or they get divorced early, or, their relationships don't work because they're delusional. And so they start talking this village talk and start trying to meet up and chill with other women of similar minds. That's why I put the two links for the sisters in DC, in that DMV area. That's hysterical. And Trell says, Cat Covens his. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Right? That's funny. And in all honesty, what are we witnessing? That's why my title is what it is. What are we witnessing? Listen, the resources are going to have to come from somewhere, everyone. The resources are going to have to come from somewhere. If we already know how many men are in the workforce compared to women, we already know that men earn more than women, yes, even including inside the black community. We already know this. We already know that men are in less debt than women, yes, inside the black community also. We know this, right? The money for subsidizing these women that never had children, that never got married, or that did have children and could barely afford it and still never got married, single mothers by choice and single by choice, the money is going to have to come from somewhere. And so for you Gen Z and young millennials, and for you alphas that's going to come of age in the next few years, that means that you will be paying for the Xer and older millennial women that gave men the middle finger from their generations. And that means those men from those generations will also be paying for women that gave them the middle finger. You imagine? Imagine. Let's make it more visceral and personal. Imagine a woman giving you the middle finger, being very snarky and sassy to you all through your life, right? Or at least since you hit puberty. So let's say 14, 15, 13 years old, all the way up until about 67, 68, giving you the middle finger, giving you her ass to kiss, and then you got to pay her for that when you are 68 years old and 67 and 69. You're literally subsidizing her to give you the middle finger and to talk to you like she's better than you. That is what this society is telling men to do with these single women and single mothers by choice. Huh? That's what this system is saying to you. Right? And by the way, this is a reckless stream, so y'all already know reckless stream rules are in effect. Don't put it in the comments. Don't put it in the comments. And freshest in classes, top of the morning, fellas. Just getting my nails dirty at my dusty job. Hysterical. Right? We're dusty kings in here. Even for you white collar brothers. Dust off your keyboard. We're dusty kings. Right? Dust off your desk and dust off your keyboard. Right? It's this. I saw this. Shout out to Compassionate and Callous. I saw this in Compassionate's channel. I was like, I gotta go find the original, and I gotta cover this. And I have the perfect links to go with this. By the way, once again, as per usual, Mr. Z could have easily put another 5, 6, 7 links speaking to the plight of single women, older women. We could put, as a matter of fact, and I'm just now thinking about this, I could have put the rise in homeless single women in here, particularly single black women. There's a cost to this. But you have a whole lot of content creators. Let's take it off the internet. You have a whole lot of black women in real life who encourage young black women to give men the middle finger, to give young black men the middle finger. And this is going to ultimately be the outcome. Period. All that super swaggy, snarky, sassy, right? Exaggerated facial expression, getting a man told thing, yeah, that comes at a cost, ladies. I continue to say, Paris got the money, Bowser has the money, Chrissy has the money, Yanny has the money. They have the money, just like the young women in DC. I'm sorry, young women, the mothers in DC, the single mothers by choice in DC, just like Ebony K. Williams, etc., etc. These women have the money to give men the middle finger and potentially float through life financially. Their mental and emotional state, that's a whole different conversation. But the average black woman does not have the money to give black men the middle finger. And this is why Z is saying that the end goal will be to get the state to subsidize them, because there's no way that these women are going to walk into their 50s and then their 60s and then potentially their 70s and 80s working themselves to the bone. First of all, they're not going to pass 70. For the most part, they're not going to make it past 70. Huh? There's a cost. And like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And KMS's, and thank you for the super chat. So they want laissez-faire capitalist men to finance these lazy, unfair, hysterical, unfair, commie ass broads. Bees, please. B, please. Cues the Golden Girls team. Thank you for being a friend. No, yes. Yes. The finance bros and the capitalist brothers, and capitalist men in general are supposed to have a collective mindset. These men ain't even built like that. They're not. When it comes to subsidizing the women. Huh? Absolutely, KMS. And Gabar says the state doesn't have the funds. Exactly why they're gonna raise your goddamn Xbox subscription. Huh? That's why your PlayStation Live subscription, or your Xbox Live, better yet, and your PlayStation Online subscription, that's why the price is gonna go up. Taxes. Huh? They're gonna get it from you somehow. Right? Dear men, dear black men, they're gonna try to get this from you somehow. Shout out to Black Uru. Somebody's gonna pay for these Cheerios. Right? When Black Uru said it, it was the funniest thing in the world, and it was pinpoint accurate. Someone's gonna have to pay for these Cheerios. Right? Huh. So yeah, Gabar, you're 100% right. You're right. The government don't have it. And guess what? They're going to try to get it from you and other men and young folks. So for those of us millennials and Gen Xers, they're going to try to get it from us to pay for the women of our generation. And for all of you Gen Z and Alpha behind them, they're going to try to get you to pay for these millennial Xer women that gave millennial and Xer men the middle finger. Huh? So absolutely, you're 100% correct, Gabar, and you are 100% correct, KMS. Yes, they want laissez-faire capitalists to subsidize them. And it was always going to be that. This was always going to be the outcome. That's why Mr. Z walked in the door telling this is not sustainable. That's why that's one of my phrases. How is this supposed to work? Some 160, 165 million workers, in just about 60 million of them, Their jobs or careers don't even offer any pension plan or 401k type of retirement or any of it. We're not even talking about the ones with the crappy 401k and pension. Then you consider the women who entered careers that didn't pay that much anyway. And these women watch Yanny, they watch Chrissy, they watch their favorite celebrities. They live vicariously through them. They're watching Megan Thee Stallion say, men, we don't need y'all. We want y'all. Huh? And they clapping up for Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion is rich. And she's still young enough. Megan Thee Stallion could turn around and get married tomorrow to a rich brother, divorce him and take half, and she still got her own money too. What about you? Uh-oh. Huh? So you live vicariously through Lizzo, you live vicariously through Meg Thee Stallion, you live vicariously through these type of women, through Chrissy when she's getting sassy with black men, through Yanny when she's getting sassy with black men. You live vicariously through these women who are either doing better than average or who are just outright rich. You're living vicariously through them, right? You're living vicariously through Miley Cyrus with that song Flowers. I'm going to put that in the description box too. By the way, Flowers is Miley Cyrus's response to Bruno Mars. I should have. What's the name of that song? What's the name of his song? God damn, I forgot. Anyway, yeah. But she's talking about she could buy herself flowers and she could love herself better than he can. Sounds nice. So y'all living vicariously through these women, white, black, Latina, Asian, and otherwise, who are rich and famous, and your life isn't going to pan out like that. Oh, it's looking bad. Looking real bad. And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Right? Oh, it's looking bad. So you're living vicariously through women who can at least financially afford to give men, black men in particular, the middle finger. Ebony K. Williams can financially afford it. Dr. Chris Marsh can financially afford it. From what we can see, Miss Stephanie Perry can financially afford it. What we're hearing from Chrissy, she can financially afford it. Real talk, what Yanny, from if she's being upfront with her lifestyle, she can financially afford it. Huh? Bowser, whether she is with her boyfriend or not, can financially afford it. What about the rest of you? Right? What about the rest of you? Huh? Y'all gives you 1 second. Y'all gives you 1 second. Okay, no. So now I can answer the question. Okay, so Charles asks which song was Miley Cyrus responding to? Was it Grenade? No, it was When I Was Your Man. That's the name of the song. Right? So that was the name of the song. When I Was Your Man. And then Miley Cyrus put out her joint, which was a response to it. Yeah. So yeah. And her song is Flowers. And it's catchy, right? And she answers him word for word practically. And all of that sounds nice and it sounds empowering. Shout out to all of you women living vicariously through Miley Cyrus with her song Flowers. There's a financial cost to that. Y'all know Mr. Z is not even going into the weeds about emotions and feelings and touchy-feely stuff. Pause. Or no giggity on that one. No diggity. No giggity on that one. No, I'm not even speaking about the emotions and the love and the intimacy. No. We could just be utilitarian, hard, cold facts, nuts and bolts. The financial cost to this, particularly for black women. Once again, Black Enterprise Institute getting their information from the St. Louis Federal Reserve. Single black and Latina women have the least amount of wealth in America. This 66-year-old white woman that was a single mother by choice of adopted children, she represents the average white woman. She had a home that she sold. She represents that average white woman that has a wealth of $31,000. Black women, that means that you, for the most part, represent the average black woman that has a wealth of 3,300, not 33,000, 3,300, $3,300. This white woman that's 66 years old, clearly couldn't make it work with the man, and now it's biting her in the ass. Talking about working her butt off. No, you not making it work with a man is biting you in the butt. Right? Yeah. So if she's saying she's working her butt off, what does that mean for you, ladies? Passport girls, those of you going to the islands and going to Jamaica to get rotted out because you can't make it work with a man here in America. Oopsie. And what did the situation with Terry McMillan turn out to be? The actual real person that Stella was based off of, from how Stella got her groove back. How did her story actually end? Uh-oh. Yeah, about that. Huh? How did it turn out for Terry McMillan, everyone? Huh? Shout out to black women. Keep on thinking there's an escape hatch. First, we're attached by the hip. Secondly, there's no escape hatch. Huh? Once again, the benign neglect of your black boys that still end up earning more than the girls in the future. Huh? The math, right? The benign neglect, right? And low level contempt, high level, low level contempt of the black boys and black men, the giving them the middle finger, the getting off on rejecting them, insulting them, belittling them, the unwarranted sass, the unwarranted snarkiness. There's a cost to that, right? And St. Serious is a black boy finessed her. Here's the funny thing. I think Terry McMillan finessed herself. I think they both played each other. Terry McMillan went over there, threw her aged out vagina on dude, was probably being a little hornball. He saw a way out of Jamaica, and she saw a way of giving black American men the middle finger. They both played each other. He just won up more than she did. That's all. And she was embarrassed. That's why she's been in hiding for a couple of decades. She was embarrassed. She tried to give black American men the middle finger. She went over there, got rotted out by him because I put money. He low key flirted with her. We all know Jamaican brothers. But he had one foot in and one foot out. New meaning. Bisexual brother, gay. We already, if you're bi, you're gay. Right? Huh? So they played each other. She just doesn't like the outcome because it's embarrassing. You tried to give black American men the middle finger. You went to Jamaica to go have some fun time, and you did have some fun time. And you came home, you came back to America with a boy toy. Unfortunately for you, the boy toy had wandering eyes. Huh? Wandering eyes, not for other women, ooh, but men. Ah. And you're embarrassed. If y'all remember, I know y'all extras remember. You couldn't tell Terry McMillan anything when she came back with this dude, right? I could kind of low key, like low level remember some of it, but I remember I went back and watched some of this stuff with her and the interview she was doing before the story exploded about right, and she was being threatening and violent to him after it blew up, of course, because she was embarrassed, and she's still embarrassed. So when we talk about finessing her, nah, she tried to finesse him and he tried to finesse her. They both finessed each other. Huh? Look, shout out to Compassionate and Callous. We might have to have a whole stream about women's nihilism and how it manifests and how it sounds and looks like. When they throw a temper tantrum because all of the little escape hatches from being an adult don't work, or it blows up in their face, and the adult temper tantrum they throw because whatever little schemes and scams they try to pull, instead of compromising and working with the black man, we're not even white men. We actually put y'all on easy street, but you're low level contempt though. We might have to do a whole stream on women's nihilism, black women's nihilism, and how it manifests when they throw in temper tantrum because all of their little schemes and scams don't work. Now they talking about being single by choice and being single mother by choice. All right. Anything to not work with a black man. We'll see how it works. Huh? That's hysterical, Trill. Right? Huh. And KMS is, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. KMS is, Z, I live in Houston. If she lives in Houston, as she claims, she's going through it. All she's eligible for is straight pipe or couch surfing. Madden King's hysterical. A man she could present ain't checking. And KMS is speaking about Real Talk with Yanni, right? That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, right? We're what This is the beauty of the internet. Like I came in the door saying the internet will expose us all. The beauty of the internet is that the women are documenting. They're documenting their enthusiastic fall into hell. Oh my god. They're documenting their fall into the lifetime supply of antidepressant pills. They're documenting it. Shout out to all you alphas. Shout out to all of you that's going to come after alpha. Y'all are going to have just a lifetime supply of content, books, articles, videos, damn their documentaries and mini documentaries of women showing you how they walked into what you're going to see them as. So right now they're in their late 20s, they're in their 30s, they're in their 40s. And as you alphas come of age and the generation behind them, and these women are now in their 70s and 80s, they're documenting to you right now, as we speak, how they got to where they're going to be. Those nursing homes being miserable, being in their luxury apartments by their goddamn selves, no grandkids around because they never had children to have grandchildren, no man around because they never cultivated a relationship with a man worth a damn, right? On their fifth dog, right? Yeah. On their fifth cat, right? The most desensitized red button ever. If y'all don't know what Z means by the red button, the man in the boat, the most desensitized man in the boat ever. Thing don't even get stimulated no more, huh? So these women are enthusiastically, gleefully documenting their fall, huh? This is a good one. And Trail says studies will be written. I actually think you're right on this. All jokes aside, I actually do think you're right about this. I think this era of interaction between men and women will be studied. I was having a conversation with a coworker, and he was saying him and his lady were having a conversation, and me and my lady haven't had this conversation, and it's also something y'all have heard Sarge Willie Pete express. And give me 1 second. Oh, actually. And yeah, but y'all have heard Sarge Willie Pete also express this sentiment also, which is this conversation is just oversaturated. This man woman talk, this relationship talk, the matchmaking shows, all of this stuff, right? Speed dating stuff, all of this is just way too much. And I actually agree with that. I actually agree with that. That is why Mr. Z emphasizes the overall environment, what's going on politically in our society, what's going on economically, right? The social, economic, political woes that people are feeling. These other folks that have this conversation, for the most part, they do not talk about that because that's the crux of a lot of this. Maybe not so much in the black community. It's really black women's contempt, but we'll get to that later. Right? But the beauty of the oversaturation coming from the women's side is that they will leave no doubt. So for the people that study this in 20 years, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, there will be left no doubt what the women were on. Provide, protect, and shut up directed towards men, particularly in the black community. There will be left no doubt. So on the surface, with the nicer, softer language will be, oh, I just wanted someone that loved me and that appreciated me and that cared for me. And on the surface, and the second you scratch right underneath that surface, right? Gara with the sand shell around him, right? If y'all remember Gara and Rock for my anime heads, Rock Lee versus Gara, right? When Rock Lee took the weights off his legs, and when that sand mask cracked under Gara's face, and you could see the Gara under the sand mask, and he looked like a sadistic, crazy person, right? That's the women underneath that mask. So for those of you in the future, get past the little surface level euphemism talk, the softer. No, I was looking for someone that loved me, and dig through, research through, and find that the women were really demanding that men of their similar age were walking wallets, walking ATM machines, and overglorified guard dogs that did not have opinions and that weren't offensive to the women. And what do the women find offensive? Anything that's not laudatory and kissing their ass. Huh? Yeah. Don't fall for the softer language. So the beauty of the oversaturated man, woman, gender war, gender conflict, back and forth, is that the women will leave no doubt that they wanted one foot in capitalism and one foot in capitalism, one foot in communism, one foot in patriarchy, one foot in feminism, right? One foot in them being selfish, one foot in everyone else being selfless. Huh? They will leave no doubt. So going back to what KMS is saying, yeah, I mean, you know, I should be in the neck of your. By the way, KMS, I should be in your neck of the woods in a little bit, in about a few weeks, right? So we'll see. But with that, you know, the interesting thing about Yanni is you could see it's not. I don't see Yanni having that same like anger and resentment the way Chrissy does, right? And she's not because you could see the moral compass back there somewhere. You could see it. You could see it somewhere, right? I don't see her as being a Paris Milan. I don't see her as being a Chrissy fully, right? She's not a Lexus Exodus. She's not a Cynthia G. But was it Oscar Wilde that said, it's hard to get a man to um was it is it's hard to get a man to believe something, especially when his paycheck is reliant on him not believing something along those lines. I'm definitely messing that quote up, right? But like Yanni's making good money off of YouTube now. She's making good money. I'm awful says you can. You can? No, I see it. Right. And to all of the women that includes you, Chrissy, and Yanni, if y'all ever come on this, Bowser, if you think I'm attempting to shame y'all, that's because I am. Oh yeah, oh, what you thought Mr. Z wouldn't say it? Oh yeah, nope, yep. If you think I'm attempting to appeal to your better nature, that's because I am. Shout out to Edward Anderson. Foolishly, foolishly, that's because I am. Huh? If you think Mr. Z is engaging in SBE tactics, that's because I am. Oh, okay, it's livelihood. It's livelihood. Okay. It's difficult to get a man to believe something, especially when his livelihood is dependent on him not believing it. Okay. Thank you. Huh? Yeah. So I think with with Real Talk with Yanni and with Chrissy and with Paris Milan and with all these other characters, their rhetoric sounds nice. It sounds empowering. That's why y'all are like hearing me, speak about this more and more. The negative liberty, I don't OD'd on that one, but see me leaning more into the talk about empowerment, empowering how the women are interpreting, how the young women are interpreting, listening to a Yanni. And I'm using Yanni and Chrissy and their ilk to speak about not just them, but even young black female celebrities, right? That's why I mentioned Meg Thee Stallion earlier, right? These young black women that they go live every once in a while, or they go live and they say this type of, you know, nah, girl, get your life together like this first and do this, and all of that sounds nice and it sounds empowering. Don't chase after no man. Don't settle. All of that sounds empowering. Shout out to Only Logical, the young lady that with her white boyfriend. What did he say? Don't settle. You don't have to settle. You can get whatever you want. That sounds nice. He's young, she's young, and he's white. Of course he believed that. That sounds nice. The women want to hear that. Shout out to that young white dude. If you're good looking, you should put yourself on camera and go milk these women. Huh? All that sounds empowering. It comes at a cost, though. Uh-oh. Exactly. And Vince says they think they chopping up games. Imagine, and I was, you know what I was looking for? I was really looking for it. And maybe if anybody has this or know where to find it, please send it to me because I'm gonna reference it right now. And I would love to have the link to put in the description box for those that never saw it. The clip with the chocolate sister that said, um, be delusional, right? I think it's off of TikTok, but I'm pretty sure y'all can find it on YouTube. And I covered it a while ago, but I can't. Mr. Z done. I have like 700 and something videos, so I just can't find it. But yeah, the chocolatey sister that said, "What's wrong with being delusional? Be delusional. Lean into your delusion." Essentially, right? So I'm covering this to say that comes at a cost. The delusion turns you into this 66-year-old. And oh, how did Mr. Z miss this? Y'all remember the interviewer, what she said to her? But because I said young, the 66-year-old white woman said, she said something along the lines of like, I'm a here and now person. I like to do these things this way and this way. And she said it so underhanded, like snarky, which is like, and how's that working for you right now? You didn't even need a man in the room to say it. That was one white woman to another white woman. And how is that working for you right now? You didn't even need a man you didn't even need a black man part of the black manosphere to say it. This is one white woman to another white woman. How is that working? And I'm paraphrasing some of that, but overall, how is that working for you right now? Oh, yeah, there's a cost. You damn right. Single mother by choice, adopted children, right? Working two jobs. Lucky for her, they seem to be work from home jobs. Lucky for you on that one, ma'am. Lucky for you on that one. Huh? So you're single by choice. You're working two jobs. You're not financially stable. You yourself said you're working your butt off. Your words. And then you have a bunch of women, the loudest of which are black women, who think they're going to live this white woman's life. And what? Come out the other end prospering, being able to retire at 65 and 68 and 70 and 75? Absolutely not. So let me make sure I say this, and shout out to Leon. Hopefully Leon gets this far because he's not here, so hopefully he's part of the replay gang and he gets this far. Leon told y'all they're going to work till they die. And he's not the first. But Leon told y'all, don't say nothing to them. They're just going to work till they die. They don't realize they're going to work till they die. They're going to work till they die. Right? Trail, not the hearing. Look, Trail, one of the best songs. Oh, and that's a high-ass bar for Luther. That's one of my favorite songs from Luther. Right? Not Here and Now. That's to me, that's one of the best songs of R&B history. And it's simple. That's a simple ass song. And it's to me, if you don't got Here and Now at the wedding, I don't even know what you're doing with yourself as a black person. If Here and Now is not at the wedding reception, I don't know what you're doing as a black person. What are you doing? I don't care how old you are. Huh? We all know Luther was LGBTQ. Who cares? We all know Kevin Campbell is LGBTQ. Who cares? Right? Don't y'all forget, dear Black Manosphere. Remember, we're supposed to be homophobic. Meanwhile, Mr. Z saying, yeah, Luther, wedding, definitely. You better have hearing now in the background. I don't know what y'all doing. Right? Huh. That's a good point. And from Africa came says, isn't it fitting that they love being sung sweet lies to by gay men? Isn't that what Demon's is for? God damn, Z. Isn't that what Herbie is here for? There's another brother that I started seeing around the Ole circle. He's LGBTQ also. So yeah, you good point. Good point. Right? Huh. Good point. All right. So I think this was perfect to cover today. The reason why we're covering this is because it fits, right? A 66-year-old white woman who's telling you she's working her butt off. She's literally living the Golden Girls life. Literally living with other single white women. From what we could tell, she's not same-sex loving. She got the 2 dogs. I mean, if this not a walking goddamn stereotype. Rest in peace, Kevin. Kevin said, buy a dog and die alone. This lady has 2 dogs, and she's living the Golden Girls life. Literally, literally living the Golden Girls life. Huh? So let's not say she's alone. But she literally is living with 2 other single women with her 2 dogs. Huh? Yeah. Meanwhile, you have women like Chrissy telling you if you can't date hypergamously, then it's better that you be alone. Well, this white lady, 66 years old. Huh? You have Real Talk with Yenny mocking black men, saying we're going to pass away before the women anyway. So these women are going to pretty much die alone anyway. Huh? And fresh is in classes. Show her some crazy. She's a single mother with those 2 dogs. Hysterical. Single mother by choice. I mean, this is proto just about everything we talk about here. She's proto Chrissy. She's proto Yanny. She's proto Ebony K. Williams. I put money she's proto Amanda Seals. I put money if you rewind 30 years ago and 35 years ago, she would have been saying the same thing Amanda Seals is saying now. At what, 40? 40, what is Amanda Seals, early 40s? Huh? Lead? No, we could, lead. I don't believe in this leadership thing, and why does he have to lead? And yeah, that sounds nice. How's that wedding ring finger looking, Amanda Seals? We both from the Caribbean. I already know what you want. We both are people both from the Caribbean. I already know what Amanda Seals is on. Amanda Seals should have been married over a decade ago. I'm telling y'all now why she's not. She's insufferable. Huh? She's not a super baddie, but once again, y'all already know, light skin, Caribbean, could probably turn on the accent. I'm telling y'all why Amanda Seales, not ugly, for her age, still relatively fit, the looser curled hair. Amanda Seales should have been married more than a decade ago. Easily. I'm telling y'all why she's not. Trell, you said it again. Trell says she's on the spectrum. Side eye, right? Oh, I didn't know this. Ishmael, you might have gave me something to cover. And Ishmael says she went on a rant recently talking about this. Yawn, right? Huh. This 66-year-old is showing you what the end result is. Vivica A. Fox is showing you what the end result is. Huh? Claudia Jordan is showing you what the end result is. Eartha Kitt showed you what the end result is. Huh? Ishmael says, dude's taking her for money. Amanda Seales, I'ma just call a thing a thing. Ebony K. Williams realizes this too. She ain't gonna never say it, or she not gonna say it now at least. Y'all gonna have to pay for penis and companionship. Ooh, goddamn, Z. Oh, pick them up off the floor, everyone. Pick them up off the floor. Pick them up. Right? Pick them up off the floor. They just fell out. They just fell out. Black women paying for peeing. Huh? You're gonna pay for it somehow, ladies. No, let's reverse what some of what Black Uru said. Okay, fine. Men are somebody gonna have to pay for these Cheerios through our tax dollars and labor and whatnot. Guess what? But these women are gonna have to turn around at 45 and 47 and 52 and 55, and that 28-year-old that they want, that they find attractive, but they don't want him to talk. You're gonna have to pay for that PlayStation. And now, what's the handheld device? The Rogue Ally X now. What that cost? $800 something dollars. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it. Thank you. Huh? Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it. Thank you for the Xbox. Thank you for this new flat screen TV. Huh? Yep. Thank you. Thank you for that for my laptop. Yeah. Amanda Seales, what you thought? Huh? Hmm. And Ishmael says Jason Lee, the Hollywood Unlocked dude, isn't that the light skinned LGBTQ brother? Just went in on her as well, essentially labeling her insufferable. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. There's a cost to giving men the middle finger, and I mean, y'all are literally seeing it with celebrity black women who at one point were. Y'all understand? We're talking about like baddies in Hollywood. At one point, they were flaming like melt the concrete fine, huh? And they wasted it. Oh, and we watched that in real time for the youngest of boomers, for Xers, for those of us around my age group, millennials. We watched it in real time. We watched them destroy what they could have got with their just off of their beauty alone. From Naomi Campbell and Tyra Banks to Taraji to Amanda Seales to Maya. We watched that, right? Thank you, Trail. Solar eclipse fine. Right? Now you watching Chili subsidize some F-list level white actor. Chili, y'all, from TLC. Indian hair chili. Oh my God. Wow. Oliver says Melissa Ford. Where Melissa? We don't even want to start on Melissa Ford. Y'all realize these are women that could have had their life subsidized and they didn't have to open their mouth? I mean, they would have had to open their mouth, giggity, but they wouldn't have to speak? Huh? Do y'all realize it's difficult to explain to younger millennials and Gen Z? I've mentioned this before. It's difficult to explain, like, y'all generation of baddies versus our generation of baddies. It's difficult to explain because for many of this, we're talking about baddies pre-social media, right? So it wasn't just, you didn't have access to seeing them all the time the way y'all do now with some of the women y'all find attractive in your age group. Huh? It's just it's difficult to put into words. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Chili, T-Boss, Left Eye, whichever one of them you found attractive. And for some of us, it was a different one at different times in our life, right? Monica Hood ass, right? For some of us, Brandy. I know for some of us, the distance between her eyes is kind of weird. I get it, right? Huh? Just from Vivica, it's too many to name. It's just too many. Trina, look at Trina now. I know y'all heard about the dude she married to now and whatever. Yawn, huh? Wow. And so you end up like this 66-year-old white woman. Ah, it's looking bad. It's looking bad. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. KMS says, her Houston lady, morbid fascination with male life expectancy is projecting because she feels is dead to the men she wants. It's common in H Town. Excuse me. I bet. I bet. Right. Lisa Ray's another one. Hallie's another one. Right. So yeah, no, KMS. I bet. She's working out, and let's be 100% with women, black women here. That self-actualization and work on yourself and love yourself, and you got to know yourself first. Yeah. That has a shelf life. When loneliness is kicking you in the ass, and by the way, we know loneliness is kicking you in the ass, you can't self-actualize yourself out of that. All right? Detroit says Janet. We literally call Janet Jackson braids Janet Jackson braids. And black women been doing those braids before Janet. And we call them Janet Jackson braids, y'all. Right? I said it on the Raj Reports channel. Janet was supposed to have a kid with Pac. That's what was supposed to happen. I'm not talking about Bobby Brown. I already know. No, Janet was supposed to have a kid with Pac so that kid could come out a ball of light. A Shakur Jackson baby. Who could beat that? Right? You got Michael in your veins and the Shakur family. You got civil rights, Black Panther, and Michael in your veins. Oh boy. The Shakur Jackson baby. You imagine if they had a Shakur Jackson daughter and a Shakur Jackson son? Oh. But once again, now you go have a kid from the Middle Eastern dude, billionaire, fine. And the day when y'all contract is over, you file for divorce. Oh. And then you and talking about Paris, you and Paris, Michael Jackson's daughter, are over here slapboxing in the middle of the goddamn parking lot. No, it was really the driveway in front of one of their houses. Huh? Wow. Man, y'all all right. Huh? But yeah, so with Yanni in Houston, look, I'm not surprised. Yanni is just gonna age out the game. If she keep on down this road, she's just gonna age out the game, still being on what she's on. Eventually, she's just gonna sound like Samantha Cooker. That's all. She's just gonna sound like Samantha Cooker. Just fit. That's all. Huh? And she gonna do now. Yanni could. She ain't gonna be rich like that. But you know, she could. She'll be able to claim rich auntie. So she'll give other black women that are single like her, she'll give them even more reason to live vicariously through her because she'll be able to claim rich auntie. From my understanding, one of her brothers has a child, so she can claim rich auntie. Huh? And Detroit says Aaliyah and Jet Li, anyone? Apparently, Jet Li took a liking to her for real, when they were making Romeo Must Die. Right? But we already know about Aaliyah and Dame Dash and apparently Jay-Z too, but okay, whatever. Right? And I ain't gonna mention Kells, so Aaliyah had a different type. Right? But yeah. Huh. So y'all can see 1 second, y'all okay. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Reckless. And we're back. Right. Huh. Saint Cyr says Aaliyah and Queen of the Damned. Yeah. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw the movie. Right. And she was supposed to be in the Matrix, but you know, plane accident, and then Jada took the role. So this 66-year-old is the proto version of what I see a lot of Gen Xers, Gen X black women. Oh boy, prepare. Shout out to all my Xers. Trail, prepare thyself. Oh, it's going to be bad. Oh, it's going to be bad. Oh, it's going to be bad. Because boomers were crazy. Xers broke the goddamn knob. Xer black women broke the knob. Myopic, delusional, sassy beyond get out. Like they broke the knob. They broke the. Oh my god! Right? They took it. They just broke the knob. Right? When I watched the Adina, I watched some of the Adina Howard unsung, and I was like, oh my god, they broke the knob, y'all. The knob for Delusion, super sassy, super snarky, insane. I know if you are a boomer black man, when Xers came of age, when Xer black women came of age, and remember, these were some super sexy ass women. I know when they were. I know when boomer men were talking to Xer women that were 25, and you imagine you dating an Adina Howard. Oh! I know they were like, "What in the hell? She's cute, but goddamn, she crazy." Right? You imagine you looking over and you like, T-Boz is cute as hell. What? Huh? And then you hear creep. And y'all gives you a second, y'all talk amongst yourselves. And Earth says, T-Boz, really, bro? Hey, somebody found her attractive. What's going on, Mac? Mac 10. Somebody found T-Boz attractive enough. Right? Right? But the point I was trying to make with that was these. You imagine if you were a boomer and you found Left Eye attractive. She over here burning dude's house down, setting dude's tubs on fire. You imagine, huh? You imagine? You imagine you a boomer and you found Halle Berry attractive, not realizing every dude she break up with, she goddamn spread a PR campaign about how horrible this dude was. Right? You imagine? Huh? You find Naomi Campbell attractive, you'll realize she over here on the white meat all day, every day. Smoke weed every day. Oh, it's not weed, it's white peen. Anyway, huh? Yeah. You imagine? So yeah, I know Xers. And by the way, Mr. Z is in his late 30s. I meet Xers now. It ain't changed. I'm like, lady, you are 50 something. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. You are 50 some odd years old, lady. You are 30, 40, 50 pounds heavier than you were in your prime, lady. You don't sound any different. I was a kid when you were in your 20s, lady. I was a child. I remember you. I'm telling y'all this from experience. I remember you, lady. I remember you. You sound the same. That's not a positive thing, by the way. That's not a plus. Right? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's that bad, everyone. It's that bad. Right? But and once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And in and out on what KMS is saying about Yanni being in Houston. I haven't been yet, Um, but I can say for the Yanny types that find themselves in this kind of pseudo famous lane, we'll say, right, like low level famous lane, but they making some good money and they have these insane standards, but then they have this concept of negative liberty, right? That's kind of like should be messing up their ability to pair bond, and then whatever traumas they feel like they're going through, or they're going through, or they went through, right? That informs their view of relationship. All of that is like a horrible, toxic mix that's keeping them from, once again, pair bonding. It's keeping them from pair bonding because of the way they think of relationships, because of the way they think of black men, right? So they find themselves in the position y'all see Real Talk with Yanny in, right? And the reason why I use Real Talk with Yanny is because of the little bit of information she has given us. First, secondly, social media and her social media presence. Third, how loud she's been about mocking black men, especially those like the plumber, right? Aaron, right? So the reason why we cover her is to show what decenter black men eventually leads to, right? What her ideas of middle finger to men, what it leads to eventually. Huh? That is why we cover Real Talk with Yanny. That is why we cover Chrissy, right? I know y'all heard Chrissy sound, insane, or y'all like, okay, Z, you keep on talking about these people. Are they really that bad? And then y'all hear, and shout out to Compassionate, y'all hear the clip from Compassionate and Kalish channel of Chrissy straight up saying it's better to be alone than not date hypergamously. So yeah, what Mr. Z is saying sounds hyperbolic until you hear it from her mouth. Until you hear yourself, you hear it for yourself. Chrissy straight up say, ladies, if you can't date hypergamously, it's better you be alone. Huh? And Lion, yeah, I read your comment about the film cell. That was funny. And Lion says, I heard the clip. I laughed my ass off. Yeah, yeah. You know how many of these, like the hashtag Matrix lady? I think I lost her channel somewhere. She might have deleted it, or like I don't remember how I fell onto it. Black woman. You know how many of these like smaller channels or whatnot? They talk just like Chrissy, if not worse. They talk just like Yanny, if not worse. It doesn't have to be all of black women. When you start parsing through the numbers, that's what makes it so ugly. You're talking about women under the age of 45. Okay, right? Then you got to recall the black community is only some 13, 12, and 13% of the US population, right? Women under a certain age make up obviously a smaller percentage. So black women are what, 6.5%, give or take? Then women under the age of 45, black women under the age of 45, of that 6.5%, right? So when you consider what percentage of black women under the age of 40, under the age of 45, is Chrissy actually like that actually hear Chrissy, right? How many of them actually hear Bowser? How many of them actually hear the Canadian woman I covered a couple nights ago? Huh? How many of them actually hear and are subscribed to Paris Milan? The myth of the myth of black love has how many views on YouTube? Mahogany Pink's video, and that video is like what, damn near 3 years old at this point. Two and some change. That's why I cover this. Because when we say this to FD Signifier, who it's looking like has connections to more than just black bread tube or cornbread tube, as he says it. When I say this to him, he minimizes it. Huh? Yeah. Lion says, my response to that clip is, who wants to be with average anyway? Hysterical. I say to average and below average looking black women, it's better to be alone than not date hypergamously. If you can't date hypergamously, it's better to be alone. And I don't care. I don't care. Oh, wow. And this might be controversial. No, I said it before. Let me start saying this more and more. Y'all hate black men. You despise black men. You have such an issue with black men. You despise black men more than you love black women, more than you care about black women, more than you care for truly advocating for black women. These women will not just be single. They won't just be alone. They will be struggling, Chrissy. All you're doing is putting salt in the game, Yanni and Chrissy. I said it before. Y'all are treating these women as cannon fodder in your black gender war. Your. And these are young, impressionable black women. Y'all should be acting as elders and telling them to get their mind right and get under a black man. And I mean that in both ways. Right? But whatever y'all got going on, y'all are so resentful. Y'all are so spiteful. Y'all are so rageful. And the YouTube money is that good that y'all are not saying that. Huh? Y'all are laughing and mocking black men who say, yeah, you might have to settle. And that's why I have the link from the 66-year-old in my in the description box. Because that's what mocking black men eventually leads to. Yeah, I actually wondered that because I was looking for that a couple days ago and I couldn't find it. And Grab Second Gear says, anyone knows what happened to Gender War Lore's channel? And there was some good stuff on his channel. And I've linked his channel multiple times and well, right. Huh. Right. I'll try to find out, by the way. Grab Second Gear. So that's why we covering this today. All of that sound nice, making fun of, mocking black men sound nice. This is the end result. Right. And Vince says, and thank you for the super chat. Eric Erickson's sixth state of psychological development is intimacy versus isolation. This occurs between 21 and 39. The social scientists already seen this before. Maybe this is black women's version of ICEL. For those of you that know what Mr. Z is really saying, maybe this is their version, like we already said, femcel. But maybe this is also their version of hikikomori, right? Like the shut-in black women. So they're on the internet entirely too much. Mr. Z is one to talk. They're on the internet entirely too much. That's why not too long ago I kept on saying, put the cell phone down, right? They're on the internet too much. They're interacting with this type of content way too much, and the celebrity gossip content and all of that stuff way too much. And all it's doing is priming them for a lifetime of not just single, not just alone, but struggling. And never knowing any real true love or intimacy or any of that. Huh? So yeah, shout out to the social scientists who already are calling this. and the psychologists and all these other people who are already like, there's a cost to this, huh? Yeah. Victor Creed says they were gonna get him eventually. Yeah, I think about this when it comes to my channel also, right? And yes, I did see the message that May sent. I saw it. I'm gonna speak about that at a later date, right? Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. Right. Yeah. So eventually, and we already knew this, right? We already knew they were coming for us. We already knew they were trying to set us up, right? We already knew this. But of course they are. But it's gonna make it. It's gonna be real difficult to try to make us sound like some hateful, misogynistic. This is why I think they're gonna have to trump up stuff. Because especially if you checking out people like me channel, yeah, we're not advocating for any type of harm on women. We're just saying, hey, look, action, reaction. That's essentially what our channel is. Action, reaction. Right? Especially when we put the links in the description box and and shout out to Gender Warlord, you can see what the women are saying. Like what can you can see the insults, you can see the mocking of black men, right? You can see the advocating to see black men hurt or harmed, right? Yeah. So they're gonna have to trump some stuff up. But yeah, you gotta know we're on different list of, you know, what Hillary Clinton said, deplorables. Absolutely. Huh? Yeah, I gotta, and it's a lot. I gotta make sure. Yeah, it's a lot. And Vince says, Z, make sure you archive your shows. Yeah, I try. Right? I try. I go off the reservation a little bit sometimes, but I try. And Global Free Agent says, Z will be fine. Protects himself well with his language. Right? I try. Yeah, external hard drive. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. Right? Oh, I'm Waffle says, what did the message say? No, just them. So she was complaining about some other woman that was kind of unhinged, that acted like she was going to be cool with May, and they're gonna pretty much set us up. So anytime we apparently put our big toe too far, they have contacts to um send our videos or links to pretty much get us flagged off the platform, right? Yeah, hard buck of this title, hysterical. But yeah, no, we're never gonna forget that. That's mainly that's like the primary reason I didn't vote for her in 2016. There's no way I'm never gonna forget that. And hard buck says also super predators, referring to Hillary Clinton, speaking on black men back in the 90s when her husband was president, right? So yeah, so May pretty much, admitted that um they're looking for us to step our big toe over whatever imaginary line, whatever arbitrary line, and they're gonna get us, right? And she has a lightweight army of women just looking for us to commit any type of violation, and they're on us. So yeah. So we already knew this, right? For those of us that already know about, MTR and what's the other brother that's on that list? There's two brothers, MTR and damn, his name is right there. Okay, it's I lost it. I lost it. But yeah, there's a couple of brothers on the list, and then obviously a bunch of white dudes. But yeah, and then there got to be a bigger list of once again, deplorable man with this man talk, right? Because they're not distinguishing between Black Manosphere and not, apparently. Yeah, Steph is Cole. Yeah, it was Steph is Cole. Thank you. Thank you. Steph is Cole. Thank you. Thank you, St. Cyr. Thank you, Low Volume L. Right? So, yeah. And when you once you see MTR on the list, especially with the way that brother presents his argument, especially with the way he speaks, that lets you know it's not really about exposing certain things and whatever. It's just shut up. It really is. You're in the way of men protecting, providing, and shutting up. You're in the way of that. Huh? Yeah. And that's the thing. So when you have Richard Reeves straight up saying for the brothers and for just the men that just said, you know what, throwing my hands up, I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage. And for Richard Reeves to say, nah, y'all can't do that. Essentially, it's a man's job to put in more than he takes out. Yeah, we're already doing that. Yeah, that's the issue. We're already doing that. And your daughter said they're not gonna play ball because they can't be with the rich man. We're not subsidizing them, Richard. I could call you what they call Richard as a nickname, Dick. We're not subsidizing them. Y'all could try to badger us all, and the same way you did to Joe Scarborough. Y'all can try to badger us as much as y'all want. We're not subsidizing your wayward, mean, condescending, rude, snarky, sassy ass daughters. Absolutely not. And by the way, Richard Reeves does not have daughters, 3 sons. Either way, we're not. Huh? So yeah, of course they're gonna be snooping around in this space, and they're gonna try to set us up. And once again, Vince, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. They're gonna try to set us up and all of that. Yawn. All of the brothers that content creators, all of the brothers that produce stuff for the Black Manosphere, all of you that listen in or contribute or come up on panels, just watch your six. Right? Be careful. Because these people ain't playing fair, but we already knew they weren't. These people are not playing fair. As I said, we already knew they weren't going to play fair. The goal is to have, as George Carlin said, obedient workers. The men are supposed to be obedient workers, subsidizing a-hole women that Joe Scarborough keep on telling us, and other men, white men, keep on telling us are kick-ass. And certain black men, of course. These women are kick-ass. Nobody cares about your daughter's degree and whatever she does for her career. She's a mean, snarky a-hole. She's an entitled brat. Just because you're an entitled brat makes 70 or 80 or 100 and 120 and 150, $150,000 a year does not mean we want to marry your entitled brat. Right? So that'd be another Christmas that she comes to visit by her goddamn self. That's another Thanksgiving that she comes to visit by her goddamn self. Huh? Keep on telling us your daughters are kick ass. Yeah. Right. So yeah, they're gonna be snooping around. Y'all already know. Y'all, and the goal is to first bribe us cheaply, and if not, try to take over and direct the young men to more healthy forms of masculinity. Translation: lie to them, direct them to marry these a-hole women that don't want to marry them anyway. By the way, the women don't want to marry the men. That's the kicker, right? And so by the time these young men wake up from their stupor, they're divorced and half their wealth is gone from these men's a-hole daughters. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nope. Right. For those of us that see the clip of Dr. Richard Reeves and somebody mentions divorce to him, and he said the freedom of choice. Was it the freedom of choice? Is that what was that his response? When someone was like, God, the divorce rate skyrocketed, it rocketed, I think, after the feminist movement, well, second wave feminism anyway. And he was like, yeah, freedom of choice. Or something like that. I can't remember how he phrased it. Right? Yeah. And we're supposed to pay into the system more? Absolutely not. Right? You better find another way. Like I said, what y'all gonna do? Jack up the prices of an Xbox, right? Jack up the price. Y'all gonna start having to make us pay for corn, right? Make men pay for corn, internet corn too. Jack up the price of Xbox subscriptions, huh? It was exit power. Thank you, Eric Deadman. Yes, that is what he said. Exit power, right? Exit. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. The women are telling you they're not doing struggle love and they're not doing potential. That's what the women are saying. But yet you want men to sign up for a deal that has a over 50% divorce rate. And actually, it's actually going down just a smidge because the people that are marrying are the going further and further up towards the economic elite. And so they don't get divorced. They just separate or they do their own thing while still in marriage, by the way, at least on paper. So that's one of the reasons why the marriage rate is stabilizing is because people aren't getting married to get divorced in the first place. I said that wrong. I said the marriage rate, the divorce rate. One of the reasons why the divorce rate is stabilizing is because people are not getting married to get divorced in the first place. And the people that are getting married tend to be more of the financially well off, which lets you know this was never really about character flaw in the men in the first place. This was about the cold, hard cash. And who files for 70% of divorces? Your daughters. And so, Mr. Reeves, men are supposed to sign up for that, for women to exercise their exit power whenever they want. Forget just cheating. Straight up divorcing and torpedoing that family? Yeah, how about not? Charles said lotion tax, hysterical. Onasi said bachelor tax. Right? Onasi, a piece of me already feels like that's already happening. A part of me already feels like that's already a thing. And Onasi says 10% added on federal taxes if you are if you are unmarried man. A part of me already like when I put on my tinfoil hat, and actually I joke with my friends about this all the time. When I tell them, financially, Mr. Z's, yeah, Irish, right? Irish. Z, what was that word you said? Irish, right? But I'm coming to this pretty much at the end of COVID, so it pretty much just evens out, right? But with that, at the same time, I joke around with my friends and say, look, uh, when I put on my tinfoil hat, it does seem like there's a bachelor tax somehow, some way, right? And being a single black male in his late 30s, no children, never married, the U.S. government is like, Excuse me, Negro. So you ain't gonna pay for these Cheerios? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You ain't really contributing the way we need you to contribute. You don't have any children, so future taxpayers and wage slaves, and you ain't subsidizing a chick because you ain't married to her. Oh no, we can't let just that slide. We can't let it slide, right? So yeah, when I joke around with my friends, I say that all the time. Like, look, I'm a single man. They taxing the hell out of me, right? And y'all already know Mr. Z has a lady and whatnot, but we're not married. So they're like, oh wait a minute, you ain't married and you don't have any kids? Oh no, huh? And this is what I'm saying. Grab second gear says, if you're single, they destroy you with tax in your paycheck, huh? Right. And once again, Vince, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And Kanguru says, Z, there's an issue within this batch of Venus. However, I still believe in saving the community. How do I balance that? Um, Listen to Z's channel. Me patting myself on the back. But no, I can relate. I can relate, right? I can relate. But saving the community means you're gonna have to be okay with watching some drown. Saving the community means you're going to have to be not even okay, but you're going to have to know and have to come to terms with not just watching brothers drown, watching men suffer. Unfortunately, we are way too comfortable with watching women suffer. Now, that's something I would argue our society is not as comfortable with. That includes black women. Now, black women aren't white women, but that includes black women. And what I would have to say, Kanguru, is that you are going to have to come to terms with watching maybe even attractive women suffer, maybe even young women suffer. You're going to have to be, you're going to have to come to terms with watching them deal with the consequences of their actions. And your brain is going to register that as suffering. But that's just the receipt, right? That's just the receipt for their actions. Or in sometimes inactions. Yeah, Trell, and sometimes the kids. You're gonna have to be okay with watching the kids, the children of said women, go through things, right? And yeah, it's unfortunate, right? Hard Bucks is this name is killing me, hysterical. Hard Bucks is let them eat fate, right? I hear you, Kanguru. I get it. I get it, and I'm not one to dance on black women's misfortune. Look at when Asia Maynard happened, right? What's the young lady? I'm forgetting her name. That the white dude dismembered when Laura Smithfield happened. Mr. Z, I reported on these things. I did not celebrate, not at all. Cautionary tales, right? When Bell Hooks passed, we didn't celebrate. We made note of it. We spoke about what she did and what she said that hurt black men. How she helped to bring about more and more of the benign neglect of black men, or using her, excuse me, ideas about black men and allowing them to be weaponized by by extra women and by millennial women against black men. We made note of that. We did not celebrate her passing, right? So we do not take we do not take glee in watching black women have to deal with that receipt, right? On the other side of that equal sign. Look, if y'all think about it, I actually got chastised about this by a couple of my subscribers. right? I'm actually giving black women the warning. Black women around Z's age group, a bit older, a bit younger, but really under the age of 50, Mr. Z is just, are y'all sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? I don't know about that. I'm going to tell you about that. That don't look good. Are you sure about that? Huh? So when they're like this lady, 66, her words, working her butt off, when you're 70 and she's 66 working her butt off, you're going to throw her that lifeline? What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Sign your will to her? And what's supposed to go to your nephew? What, you're gonna give it to her now? Huh? Think about that. So I hear you, brother, and I agree. But we're gonna there. If we are to throw a lifeline in front of everyone, by the way, to the women who gave you their ass to kiss, to the women who were a burden. Let's be very clear, and a menace to the black community, and who advocated against family unless you as a man was rich and extremely good looking and charismatic, translation, kissing black women's ass. If you throw those women a lifeline, then you're telling the good women that everything they were on and the discipline that they had and they showed was for naught, because the end result will be the same. What you have to allow for women to see with their own two eyes is that there will be a handful of women who win the lottery, and the masses of you who gave black men their ass to kiss that suffer. And it's not because black men want you to suffer. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's the outcome of your middle finger. The good women have to have a reward for being good. And if we give the a-hole women a lifeline, then what was the point of the decent women being decent? Huh? If both of them end up living in a home with a man that's chipping them off the retirement money and the social security money, and right, then what was the point? These women are going to have to watch Vivica A. Fox walk into Eartha Kittville. Huh? And they're going to have to watch a lot of black, famous extra women. This is important. Famous extra women walk into that. Huh? And every once in a while, it would be left not for interpretation, because the Taraji P. Henson and Angie Martinez interview, if you read through the comments of that interview, you'll see a whole lot of women copping pleas, and they talking about everything other than the fact that she don't got no man, and that's a lot of why she crying her eyes out, and that pressure that's sitting on her shoulders, and the loneliness. Every once in a while, you're gonna have a woman that just straight up come out and say, "Yeah, I'm lonely, and that's the problem." But you're making the likeliness of that more and more rare when you throw the lifeline out, right? When you throw the lifeline out, then they don't have to come to terms with their actions being what led them to this point, and then being honest about that to other women. I'm not saying it's going to happen often. I'm not even going to say it's going to happen seldomly. I'm saying the likeliness just exponentially drops the more we put out the lifeline. And Telescope says they're inept at human relations. They really are. They really are. Right? So, Kanguru, I agree with you. That's why. And the balance for me is not celebrating watching black women suffer. Watching black women on the other side of that receipt and dealing with the consequences of their own actions, I don't celebrate it. right? So that's the balance for me. I'm not gonna point and laugh. I'm not gonna mock them. But on the other side is if I don't allow for other women, young women in particular, to watch you have to go through that, then what am I telling them? Talking about what's the incentive, Yanni? What's the incentive? What's the incentive for them not to be a-holes to black men, young black men, if we don't have to, if we don't document the average at best lady, if we don't document her in 15 and 20 years and see what her outcome is, and it's probably gonna be horrendous or just meh. At best, just meh, and at worst, not that great. If somebody throws her a lifeline for real, then what was the point of the women that stayed true? Huh? Tiffany Haddish is another one. I keep on forgetting to mention her. Thank you, Hardbuck. I keep on forgetting to mention her. She's another one, right? She's another one you see coming apart at the seams. In our face, by the way, in real time. But her background is a little, it's not even a little. Her background is just whoa. It's pretty messed up. So that's another reason why I kind of give her a little bit of space. It's not that she shouldn't be held accountable, right? But it is, something other women will be like, well, but look at the way she was raised, and so I kind of give her a little bit of space with that one. And another reason why we don't have to mention Tiffany Haddish so much is because there's so many others, right? So yeah, we're covering this, and it's important. So, Kunguru, I get you. I get you. And once again, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, but we're covering this because look, there's a cost to this. We're covering this because there is a cost to this. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. There's a cost to this. Huh? This 66-year-old is the cost of this. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to add to, if I can remember, is the Vivica A. Fox interview. So you have a woman essentially, what, she's 60, 59, 60? So 60. And then that's a black woman. A black woman that's been famous for what, 30 years? More? And on the other hand, you have this white woman who's a relative nobody, and the outcome may not be exactly the same because Vivica A. Fox got some ends, but no children, check. Well, the white woman did have adopted children, single mother by choice in her case. But what's the end result? Both of them don't have no dudes, and look at them. One of them, the white woman, 66 years old, had to literally move in with other single white women, and now they're doing their literal best rendition of the Golden Girls. Frightening. The other one, Vivica A. Fox, over here on TV, pretty much begging for a man. Charlie Theron, anyone? Goddamn, Z. And that's a white woman. And by the way, Charlie Theron been begging for a couple years now. Huh? Hysterical. Hardbuck says we need a spreadsheet for this or a bingo card. Right? Oh, that's funny. And Eric Denman says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Eric Denman says, it blows my mind that black women see what's going on in Japan and South Korea with the leftover women and can't make the correlation. Or do they not see it? Brother, I think you might be underestimating how much black women do not talk about, don't know about anything outside of the black community anything outside of their career field or what they went to school to study, and anything outside of like pop culture, celebrity gossip, stuff. Like, bruh, we do the research on that stuff. We're the ones watching these type of documentaries. We're the ones who want to know, even if we're never going to go there, want to know what's going on in India, want to know what's going on in Somalia, want to know what's going on in South Africa, want to know what's going on in Japan and South Korea, want to know what's going on in Brazil, want to know what's going on in Argentina, want to know what's going on in Venezuela and Cuba, and what's going on in Egypt, what's going on in Yemen. What We are the ones. I would argue your average black woman don't know nothing about what's going. Oh, say it, Z. Your average black woman don't even know the difference between South Korea, Japan, and China. I'm not calling black women dumb because clearly we had Susan Rice, we had Condoleezza Rice. These are black women that have rumors with white dudes. At least one of them is married to a white dude. Yes, true. I'm not calling them dumb. I'm saying your average black woman does not know the difference between South Korea, Japan. Well, let's not even say South Korea. Korea, let's say North and South Korea. Korea, I would argue your average black woman doesn't even know which one is which. North Korea and South Korea, they don't even know which one is the communist state and which one is pretty much a capitalist lesser Japan. Slightly lesser Japan. They don't know nothing about no 38 parallel, none of it. So before we even get to them knowing and thinking they're above it, I would argue they don't even know. I would argue they don't even know. Right? I would argue that the average black woman doesn't even know what's going on in Japan or South Korea because they don't even know. The average black woman, see, some of the ones that were interacting on social media with this kind of gender conflict, they know about the 4B movement. They were still out of context. They still didn't really get what was going on, but they know. But outside of that, they don't know nothing. They don't know about the dwindling birth rate in Japan, China, and South Korea. They don't know. They don't know that India just surpassed China as the largest population on planet Earth. They don't know that. They don't know that there's some 30 some odd million more Chinese men than Chinese women. They don't know that. They don't know that South Korea's birth rate is what, 0.7 or something? 0.6 and some change, 0.7. They don't know that. And Japan's is at like 1.4, 1.3. Thank you. They don't know the difference between Pyongyang and Seoul. They don't know. Huh? So, Mr. Denman, yeah, nope. Before we even get to them ignoring it, they don't even know. Okay, for those of them that do know, I think we're gonna have to come to terms with, for some of them, and especially shout out to Edward Anderson. I'm meism. That don't apply to me. I'm me. Whatever they going through, I stand to benefit from the same type of things those women benefit from. So that negative liberty, but I don't have to eat none of the cost and deal with any of the consequences the way they do. Huh? And global free agencies, the South Korean birth rate is 0.72. Jesus Christ. Not 1.7, 0.72. Oh boy. Right? Not the hey sister, hey soul sister. Right? But yeah, no, for the ones that do know I mean, like when you saw black women start to really interact with this a few months ago, how did they respond? When you saw some of those same-sex loving women respond to this a few months ago. How did they respond? They were celebrating. It was time to celebrate. Because like, hey, look at what the South Korean women can do, right? Look at what the South Korean women can do. We can imitate that, right? So even when they do find out, I will say this. I think the average black woman and woman in general doesn't appreciate how bad this could get. I'm not talking about like literal Armageddon things. I am talking about a somewhat financial dystopia, like feudalism 2.0 ish, right? This is what Sarge Willie Pete, y'all hear Sarge Willie Pete like ringing the alarms on this. Essentially feudalism 2.0, which like on the surface, it still looks capitalistic. And on the surface, it's still free market. But once you dig underneath the surface, you'll realize these major conglomerates that own everything, at least everything in a specific field. And at best, you have two, maybe three competitors in a field, right? So I don't think your average woman, not even just black women, really understands what they're staring down the barrel of and what that means for them. Because the more we don't get married, the more we don't have children, the more we don't form these families, and people reach the limits of, wait a minute, I'm working, she's working, we're doing pretty odd-ish, and yet we're still struggling. It's the system. And women not ending up with men in enough number is keeping us from getting there so that certain people's heads could be on pikes. Because you want a better future for your children. But what children? What woman? Huh? So when Chrissy says alone, yeah, it's going to be that. When Chrissy says if you can't date hypergamously, it's better you be alone, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. But she doesn't appreciate how bad that's going to be for black women. Huh? Her little gender war. She doesn't appreciate how bad that's going to be for your average black woman. Huh? So yeah, no, I don't think your average woman knows what's going on planet Earth, let alone South Korea and Japan. And yeah, if they're not interacting with in social media, and then this space in social media and these kind of back and forths with women and men, particularly black women and black men, they don't know about the 4B movement, and they don't know about the um plummeting birth rate in Japan. And as a matter of fact, they don't know about the plummeting birth rate across the developed world. Before we even get to East Asia, right? They don't even know about the plummeting birth rate around the world. You still got people talking about literally in 2024 the population boom, as if we're still in the 80s or something. There's an argument to be made that your average person in America still thinks our population is growing exponentially. They don't even understand why the immigrants are flooding over the border. What Z fixed that statement. Why they're being allowed to and somewhat encouraged to flood across the border. Flood the black vote, yes. Or flood the black vote out, yes. But is that the only reason? Is that even the primary reason? Could it be the primary reason? But is it the only reason? Absolutely not. I would argue your average person does not even know that the birth rate in America is like 1.6 or some odd. The average black person doesn't even realize that the birth rate in the black community is what, 1.7, 1.8. Yes, in the black community in America, the birth rate is below replacement level. So for every Keisha you see, okay, perfect. The brother that was just on Pop the Balloon show. For every one of those women that have 3 kids from 3 different dudes, they have a couple of sisters with no children. Huh? They have a couple of sisters with no children. So we're talking about a larger American ignorance of world events, even what's going on in their backyard, but definitely world events. So if they're ignorant about world events, then they're ignorant about what's going on in North Korea. Excuse me. Yeah, even North Korea, because North Korea got a below replacement level too. Actually, below replacement level birth rate also. By the way, it's just not as bad as South Korea. I told y'all both nations are dystopian versions of communism and capitalism. Both nations are showing you the logical conclusion to a Western neoliberal capitalist model in South Korea and a more Soviet style communist model in North Korea. And both of them are walking down the dystopian path, their respective dystopian paths, and it ain't looking good. both, both of them, right? So yeah, Eric. So no, and for the women that do know what's kind of going on and whatnot, to answer your question more directly, um, I think this goes back to what Edward Anderson says, and I'm me, and what Jason Black said. Um, that was that beat. That ain't me. I ain't her. Right. I think that's what it goes down to, which is individual black women think that these things will not affect them. Hyperinflation will not affect them, even though they're living in their parents' house because of hyperinflation in their 30s. They think it's not going to affect them, right? They think giving men the middle finger as a generation or two or three is not going to affect them, even though they're living the consequences of that as we speak. I'm me. That happened to her. That ain't going to happen to me. So I think that's how women escape. No, the ones that do know about what's going on in South Korea, the ones that do know what's going on in Japan, they're like, well, what does that have to do with me over here as a black woman in America? Right? Yeah. Vince is they not calling me a B in that song. They not talking about me. Hysterical. Right? Exactly. Huh. Man. So yeah, the and so we know about these things and we care about these things, right? I told y'all, um, and shout out to one of my boys. He called me and my lady a nerds because I told y'all we look forward to real life lore stuff, right? We watch real life lore. We watch Caspian Report. We watch those type of things, right? Simon Whistler, because y'all know Simon been on, like, this man done started or been the host of how many different damn channels over the years. I watch visual politics and visual economics, right? We watch these things. We watch Polymatter, right? We watch Windover, whatever the hell. Windover Productions, I want to say. We're watching that, huh? So, and y'all could clearly see Mr. Z, obviously subscribe to TYT. We know they got their issues. We're not even going there. Breaking points, right? So, is your average black woman subscribed to stuff like that? No. Is she even subscribed to her to any type of news network on YouTube or even IG. Huh? How many women are actually, okay, fine, conservative women. How many black women are actually watching Candace Owens, Amala Ekpunobi? Huh? How many of them are even interacting with that? So, brother, I would argue they don't know, they don't care, they're uninformed, and they like it that way. The women that are interested in this stuff, you can tell, even the ones you disagree with. You can tell when you speak to them. The ones that interact with this type of information, you can tell when you speak to them. Oliver the Gray says hysterical. TMZ don't count. No, celebrity gossip does not count. Hysterical. I mentioned that earlier too. Funny enough, I mentioned that earlier too. That's funny. How many of these women is just celebrity gossip stuff? That's what they know. They're subscribed to Lovely Tea. They're subscribed to TMZ, like Oliver said. They're subscribed to what's the one that the brother just said a minute ago? The light skinned LGBTQ brother, right? They're subscribed to those type of channels and those type of pages on IG and stuff like that. Media Takeout and what's the other one? Goddamn. Um, what's the other one that I'm just? Goddamn, I just saw the title for it the other day. Anyway, yeah, they subscribe to all of that stuff, right? The spiritual world, exactly. Stuff like that. Thank you, Low Volume L. Thank you. Exactly. Huh? Yeah. So this, remember, what I'm covering is a year old, and I feel a certain way about being a year behind. The Shade Room. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say, Saint Cyr. Thank you. The Shade Room for the US and the Shade Borough for the UK. The Shade Room. That's what I was trying to remember. The Shade Room. They're subscribed to that, right? And the Spiritual World was the other one, but it was really the Shade Room. That was the one I was really trying to remember, right? So they're subscribed to stuff like that. And I'm not saying that men writ large. Oh yeah, I am saying actually men writ large are more informed. I said it. Yes, even in the black community. But that's because we actually care to be. I don't think the women are ignorant because they're just dumber than men. I'm not putting an IQ on it. I'm saying that they don't know because they don't want to know. And that comes, that there's a consequence to that. That comes at a consequence, right? And that gives you 1 second. That's what I'm saying, right? So once again, Eric, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Elder Blood says, Roger and panel, if you study the 3 stages of demonic possession, hashtag infiltration, hashtag 1 infiltration, hashtag 2 oppression, hashtag 3 infest possession, only then you understand 90% of black women. Oh boy. Right? Good point. And Vince says, if you know all that stuff, you're boring, a lame, and a geek. What's going on, low-key darkness? Oh, hysterical. Right? And true. I don't know. See, so that's something interesting that you're saying here, Elder Blood, because I don't know if it's so much like demon possession thing, but there is something to be said about these things that are they're a little too far-fetched, they're a little too far off the reservation, they're a little too much initially, but then you find as time progresses they're not as radical as they were before. They actually become the norm. So the light skin woman that I covered when I covered that stream from BGS from like 7 years ago, where she was the one that was really on the feminist train, right? And she was the one that was speaking about to the other black women, most of them being darker skinned black women. She was telling them, what about your peoplehood? Forget his manhood. What about your peoplehood? Concerning black men, right? Her worldview at that time was the one that was out there. Now, that's the regular worldview for your average black woman. Earlier, I think it was Trell who said the essentially like the ghost of Eartha Kitt, like the Eartha Kitt-ism of these women, right? Of black women. And yeah, at one point, Eartha Kitt was kind of out there, even as a black celebrity, with this like kind of weirdness when it came to men, right? Black men in particular. At one point, but now, right? But now that's like your average black woman, right? Compromise for who? For what? She says compromise. And that interview is old, by the way, and that was when Eartha Kitt was old. That interview was old, and that's when Eartha Kitt was old. She's saying compromise. The word black women use now is settle. They're literally it's the same sentiment, different words. It's the same sentiment, different words. So I don't know if it's like demon possession or if it's just quote unquote progression of this type of thought process, right? It's just we're reaching the logical conclusion of black men ain't ish, right? I don't know if it's demon possession, right? I think the end results are evil, right? And that's not a word y'all like ever hear Z use, right? I think the end results are dark. I think the end results are ugly. But is it demon possession? Right? Yeah. And we're witnessing that in real time. That's the thing. That's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of social media. We are witnessing in real time the cost of the way these women think because they're recording themselves. Gen Z and young millennials also, but really Gen Z and young millennials, I think Gen Z actually probably has a full generation. They're going to be the first generation. I want to say that we watched them grow up literally on the internet. Because the millennials, like, there was like proto social media, right? Black Planet and AOL and all this other stuff. But like social media with the dope ass interface and people taking pictures of everything and of themselves and selfies and right and recording everything they do and taking pictures of their food. That's really Gen Z. They're the ones that grew up with that. So they're going to be the first generation that you're going to watch the failure in real time. And y'all give me 1 second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. But yeah, so we're going to watch Gen Z grow up all the way on social media and the internet, recording, and this is the part I'm trying to emphasize here, recording the failure. You're going to watch women, not even just black women record their single, lonely existence, the ups and downs of generations of women telling them to self-actualize. Don't worry about no man. He'll come eventually. There's a pun in there, right? Generations of women telling them, the man will be here eventually. Don't worry about that. Self-actualize. Love you first. Worry about you first. Love yourself first. Learn how to love you. right? So yeah, we're gonna watch that, huh? Yeah. So that is why I think this is good. That is why I say the internet will expose us all. It's literally gonna happen, right? It's literally gonna happen. And y'all gives you 1 second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Reckless. And we are back, right? And DJ Scan says, watch the failure in real time, 3D. No, seriously though. That and for you Gen Z young men, proceed with caution, but that's what you're going to be witnessing. You're going to witness women recording themselves failing in real time. Some of them financially failing, but really it's in their romantic, intimate lives. You're going to watch them. So even if she's successful financially and she's successful in her career and she has her own place and she's quote unquote kicking ass, as Joe Scarborough says, right? But you're Gen Z, y'all are gonna watch these women in real time because they've been recorded, or their parents were recording them when they were children. They recorded themselves as adolescents and then young adults and then adults. Y'all are gonna watch them in real time go from teens to 20s to 30s to 40s to 50s to 60s. Y'all are gonna watch them in real time as they get married and then have no children, get married, divorce, become baby mamas, no man, right? Never have children. Y'all are going to see them. Gen Z women as a generation record themselves throughout their adulthood, throughout their life, either becoming successful or failing. And for many, just straight up failing. No, seriously, DJ Scan, Truman Show 2050. Seriously. Seriously. Right? And Onasi says, we're already seeing TikToks of women complaining about the 40-hour work week. Yep. And I'm Waffle says, Z, check out Red Supreme current live stream when you get a chance. He going in on Paris for attacking Bronny Jr. Yeah, I saw a little bit of her stream the other night. I only watched it for like a minute or two, and I was like, right. And I didn't see it as something she would have maybe deleted. So I told myself I could probably catch it later, and yeah, I'm gonna probably check out Red Supreme and see that. Right. So yeah. And once again, Elder Blood, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. All right. Y'all gives me 1 second. But yeah, so that's why I'm covering what I'm this today. I'm coming to a close, you guys. I wanted to cover this, as I said, because I think this 66-year-old is proto a bunch of stuff that we've seen. A bunch from Ebony K. Williams and Amanda Seals in the ilk, right? To these women talking about being single and community and, find friends and find women. And what did Dr. Chris Marsh tell us? It's your friends, it's your girlfriends that's really going to be around when you need. And, husband and men come and go, and relationships and love and intimacy come and go. But yeah. And this is the end result of that mindset. This 66-year-old. Huh? Single mother by choice. Of adopted children. So, by the way, y'all notice I didn't ever go in on her about adopting the children. Good Samaritan, good thing, good citizen. But you were still a single mother by choice. Adopted the children as a single mother by choice. Huh? Yeah. So, we're just documenting what this is going to look like. We're showing women what this is going to look like. We're documenting it, and we'll watch and see as young millennials and Gen Z women, black women in specific, still give us the middle finger and go through falling off the edge of the cliff anyway. We told them, hey, watch your step, and they still fell off. On purpose. Just to spite us. And as they're falling to their doom, what's the last words out of their breath, everyone? Black men still ain't ish. Splat. And Oliver the Great, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker. Right? As the waves consume them, right before the water starts bubbling up as they drown, the last words are black men ain't ish. Bubble, 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 bubble. Right? Yeah. Right? Train tracks. Yeah. So I definitely wanted to cover this. We've gone on way longer than I actually thought I was. And so, y'all go check out other, we'll pause right here. Love Piece of Chicken Grease. Let's make sure we get that out. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. For the love of God, go touch some grass, according to FD Signifier. I know the Roger Report is streaming. I'm not sure if Dr. Thunder is streaming or still streaming. I think so. Yeah, and so I should be jumping on the Roger Report channel, but we'll see. Reckless. And yeah, so we covered this today. This is a year old. I'm really beating myself up about being a year late to this. Shout out to Compassionate for posting this. Yeah, and this is 66, y'all. Grandma, you're supposed to be chilling. If anything, maybe be a Walmart greeter just to get out the house. You're supposed to be chilling. But as Leon told us, and as we've heard before, we're gonna watch them work until they die. Let them talk crazy. Let them do however they want to do. They're gonna work until they die, and we're literally watching it right now. So clearly, all right, y'all. So we'll pause right here. Truly, y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content. As I said before, all right, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out.